Greetings, magnificent souls, to the Attract Health, Build Wealth podcast, where we have open and honest discussions about ourselves. This is your host, Lilli Bewley, and I'm honored to have conversations here with thought leaders, visionaries, healers, and even solo conversations with myself about things that I'm reflecting on currently. This is a place where we break down, break away, and break through our emotional trauma, allowing ourselves to attract health, build wealth, and live a peaceful life. We are tired of being sick and tired. We are tired, but we are not giving up. We know that there is something magnificent inside of us. And because we are fighting daily, hourly, and by the minute, fighting ourselves, our kids, our spouses, we have to do things differently. We have to break the cycle. We don't have a million chances. We have to be happy now. We have to find a way. So how do we do that? How is that possible? If you look around at what society is telling you, they tell you that what we're doing is impossible. Yet it's happening every single day. And it's happening through the practice and the love that we call awakening the magnificent soul. We are all magnificent souls, and these are our stories of healing. Today in episode 68, a solo episode about my journey of losing myself, coming back to myself, and finding love, self-love, and wholeness within my heart. But before we get into the podcast, don't forget to let me know your thoughts about this episode, any feedback you have, or anything you would like me to cover on future podcasts at epiphanyvault.com. Remember, it is a safe place and I would welcome the discussion. And today's episode is brought to you by the free masterclass I am hosting on Thursday, July 15th, called Eliminating Burnout in Dating and Relationships. So in this masterclass, I will be teaching you how to feel aligned in your romantic life so that you can feel whole and complete while also feeling loved and appreciated. This masterclass, again, is complimentary to the podcast community, and you can register at www.soullove.today, and I'll put that link in the show notes as well. It is maxed out at 14 guests, and I know that at least one spot has already been taken by the time of this recording. So make sure to grab your spot and to show up so that you can give yourself everything that you need right now. And on to the show. So I get this question a lot. Lilli, how do I know who I am? How do I find myself? And this question hits so deep. Man, it hits deep. So my intention today is to explore about how this happens to us, what this means about us, and some steps that we can take to start to find ourselves again. And even though it's taken decades to find out who I truly am, I don't think I would ever change that. I don't think that I would ever change my journey at all. And I think that the path that I've traveled to this very day has led me to such a deep and self-honoring place of self-love and self-awareness and self-expansion. And sometimes I wonder that if I would have taken a different path, if I would have ended up in this perfectly aligned place as I am today. And I think one of the biggest reasons and the biggest lessons, I guess, that I've learned is that there's always room for expansion. That even though we want to reach this pinnacle of self-knowing and this dream and destiny, the way that I see my life now is always towards growth, always towards more, always towards expansion. Where do I grow from here? That's a question that maybe I should have tattooed on me. And how did I get here? So there's definitely something to be said about our formative years, about how we were treated, how we were nurtured, how we were responded to when we asked for help, how we were encouraged or discouraged when emotions came up for us, and how we weren't for all of that. And the opposite of all those things is also true. And depending on what generation you're in, I know that I have quite a wide range that listens here. You probably also had a lot of societal pressures on you as well. For me, it was a lot about fitting into this cookie cutter mold of going to college, getting a job, following rules, starting a family, finding love. And then the expectation is do all of that and that my life would be complete. Throw in a little Disney sparkle dust that took the form of my knight in shining armor who was going to save me from my life and make me feel a bunch of love that I didn't feel from anybody, my caregivers included, and my life would be planned out and great. I would be basking in the warm glow of eternal happiness forever and always. And stacked up on that was a pretty unsafe home environment, physically and emotionally. So here's what it is. Losing ourselves until today, or until you own your story and take back your life, was what we had to do. If we're put in this place where we can't be ourselves, with all these different factors, and maybe even more that I didn't mention, it's what we had to do. The great thing is that when we bring awareness to this, when we start to come back home to ourselves, that's when we start to feel aligned. And can I say again how much sense it is made that we are now, in the past, that we are now people pleasers, that we now feel so much anxiety, that we are now strung out onto how to make everything work, including our love and relationships right now. We didn't know any better. And if you're feeling me, a little bit of love and kindness sent your way. And if we haven't been able to walk our own paths before, how are we going to be able to walk our own paths now? How are we going to be able to attract the love and life and relationships that we know we deserve, but we just can't seem to get? Y'all, this is personal growth and development, the journey in a nutshell. It's the awakening journey. It's moving the unconscious to the conscious. It's the coming home to self journey. For me, I have, at this point, encountered different levels of consciousness as I walk this path. It took me from going to a really dark place after I checked off all the things on the list. I was making 6 figures. I had a boyfriend. I looked happy on the outside, but I was miserable on the inside. And that was my dark night of the soul, if you've ever heard that term. That was my deepest and my lowest. And I think the thing that was most frustrating for me was I kept trying and trying and trying and trying and trying, and life seemed so damn hard. I kept trying to find the job that was going to light me up. I kept trying to be the anchor and the fixer in my family. I kept trying to work it out with my boyfriend at the time. I felt like all I did was try. But here's what I realized later. I did not have the skills to be myself, the person that I am now, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically. I literally did not know what knowing myself would feel like. Let that sit for a sec. All I knew was that I felt broken because I was tired all the time and freaking depressed. And let me just say, before I go into this next part of the process that I went through, it's not a pill that you take, even though you might want it to be. It's not something that you can do with your hair, your makeup, your body, your love interest, or even how much money you make. It's a journey. Just like it was a journey before, the same journey concept, but a different journey now. There are skills that I needed to learn, like how to feel feelings, how to express my needs and desires, how to step into something with courage instead of fear, how to attune with people, how to attune with myself, how to regulate myself. And the list goes on. These are skills that we did not learn, so we have to learn them. And in walking through this process, I started to understand who I really was. I kind of feel like I have this energetic feeling that my soul was kind of in a holding pattern for a while. And my emotional trauma and my emotional wounds needed to be cleared before my soul had the space to enter. And that was the process. The last step on the journey to the me that you're hearing right now, was allowing safe people to help me do that. And a really basic way to look at this is that I was hurt by people, or not seen by people for who I was, and it made me lose myself. It made me live in a world that I hadn't created and I hadn't wanted. So it makes perfect sense how the process of coming back to ourselves would involve others, other people, other safe relationships. And this is coming from someone, me, who tried on her own for a long time before she realized this piece. My same patterns kept repeating. My hope is that the light from my journey will guide you back to your home quicker. So if you're feeling lost, reach out to me, to someone like me, or a therapist to guide you back home. In big, 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 big love today. See you next time.